Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for the organizers of this rally today in solidarity with the U.S. State Department and the Congress to support for the Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act 2019. The Chinese Communist government's attack on the Uyghur people today is the long-term aim of eradicating them under the guise of fighting extremism. Due to Chinese government's information blockade, many people in the world don't know about the circumstances of the Uyghur people. The tragedy unfolding today is beyond comprehension. Crackdowns continue across the Uyghur region. In the last few years, the overall situation of the Uyghurs in East Turkestan has rapidly deteriorated and now reached to the crisis point. Today, the entire Uyghur population is facing persecution and arbitrary detention. According to numerous testimonies and witnesses, the detainees in those camps are subject to food and sleep deprivations, forced medications, organ harvesting, torture, and leading to brutal death. And the cremated to leave no evidence. Massive crematoria are being built throughout the region near the concentration camps for a culture who doesn't believe in cremation. This is a warning sign. Communist Chinese authorities using war on terrorism, criminalizing the entire nation based on the ethnic identity and the religion. The whole region is under siege. The government is forcefully collecting DNA from everyone. Ubiquitous cameras and facial recognition software has been installed everywhere, and GPS tracking devices have been placed on every vehicle. Counties and the districts and neighborhoods are filling quotas to take to the camps, which aim for social reengineering transformation through indoctrination. Currently, at least 2 to 3 million Uyghurs are being held in Soviet bloc-style concentration camps. 1.1 Chinese officials have been deployed to Uyghurs' homes to live in local Uyghurs' families. Over 500,000 Uyghur children are forcibly taken to orphanages, separated their families. Many male Uyghur detainees are moved to China proper last year. Uyghur women are being forced to marry Chinese men with government gratifications such as money, houses, and jobs for such intermarriages. These are the girls nor their families are able to reject in fear of repercussions. Uyghur elites, philanthropists, businessmen, intellectuals, professors, writers, journalists, doctors, academics, famous actors are main targets. There are at least 338 Uyghur scholars. Uyghur elites are in detention now. Many famous and or well-known Uyghurs in the public's eye and those with a voice have been silenced, with the purpose of completely eliminating anyone who might produce, extend, or defend Uyghur ideology and the Uyghur values. The U.S. Congressional Executive Commission on China describes as it's the largest mass incarceration of a minority population in the world today. What's happening in East Turkestan today is the Chinese Communist version of the final solution. A high-level Chinese Communist official, Hu Lianghe, said that Uyghur problem must be taken to the final solution stage. And now Xi Jinping government is acting on it. I decided to expose atrocities perpetrated by the Chinese government in East Turkestan and talked about fate of my in-laws and the conditions of the camp. On September 5th, at one of the think tanks in Washington, D.C., 6 days later, my sister and my aunt were taken as a retaliation for my activism here in the United States. My sister is a medical doctor. She shouldn't be in vocational training centers or re-education centers, as the Chinese government claims. A young man standing over there holding a sign saying that my parents are in the concentration camps and my mother is a housewife, my brother is a singer, and my father is a farmer. So what I'm talking here is just the tip of the iceberg, a drop of the ocean. Every Uyghur person you talk to have a family members in the concentration camps today. Dr. Michael Pillsbury pointed out in his book, The 100-Year Marathon, that the Chinese government party leaders are aiming to challenge American leadership in the world. In their mind, every place could be a battlefield in the future. My homeland, East Turkestan, is on the silent battlefield today. Beijing's human rights abuses do not stop in East Turkestan only. They are influencing the entire Uyghur population, Uyghur diaspora, in many ways. Uyghurs are despair and the depression going through. They can't communicate with their families. They don't know whereabouts of their family loved ones. The harsh situation in East Turkestan is affecting their work, schooling, and daily lives. Helpless, obscurity, and depression are growing among the Uyghur diaspora. Many young students abroad no longer receive funds sent by their parents back home for school, room, or board, because their parents are taken to concentration camps or the Chinese government froze up the funds and assets. They are facing hardships in their lives and unable to continue their education in the United States. What I'm describing here today isn't just about Uyghurs or systematic human rights abuse anymore. It is a crime against humanity. It is a crime against the civilization and integrity. It's about Western democracy and value and sovereignty. Collectively punishing an ethnic group with fascistic atrocities and ethnic genocide. Such a horrific, repugnant catastrophe should have no place in the 21st century. At the front of our own eyes here on our watch, there has been a lot of talks, but now it's time to take a firm action. Please send letters to your representatives and request to sign Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act 2019. Send letters to your representatives and ask them to act strongly on sanctions on Chinese officials responsible for this atrocity under the provisions of the Global Magnitsky Act. Ask your representative to request United States Homeland Security to accelerate review of Uyghur asylum cases. Communist Chinese government is conducting a genocide against Uyghurs and challenging Western democracy with surveillance, repression, and evilness. I'm very proud of our patriotic Americans of the greatest generation who stood up once and said never again to a ethnic genocide in the history before. The vow never again to ethnic genocide must follow with an action and upheld today. Our silence will undermine what we value in this great country. Thank you so much.